can see, group number 5 is here. This is l'école élémentaire Ellie Gibbs. And their theme is Les Gardiens du Carnaval. The Guardians of Carnival. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is group number 5. L'école élémentaire Ellie Gibbs, Les Gardiens du Carnaval. Give them some love. Make some love. Make some noise. On applaudit très fort. Yeah. Lot of mercy.
Ya yo sé que es el flow con el crudo dembow combinado con el bajo, eso te mueve a ti. Cuando te empieza a quebrar, pones el piso a temblar. Tú lo sabes muy bien, eso te mueve a ti. Como lo sabes hacer, nadie te gana a ti. Cuando te empiezas a mover, nadie te para a ti. Todas las chicas quisieran bailar así. Cuando suena el dembow, tú mandas por aquí. Si lo bailas, dígalo por ti. Si te sacan a bailar, tú le dices sí. Como lo mueves, doblemente. De la cabeza a los pies, tú eres feliz. Y bailan así con el mismo sentir. Con tanta candela no puedes subir. La noche está joven, no puedo dormir. Porque lo hacemos así.
And look at the outfit. They come from NASA. They come from Venus. They come from Mars. They come from the galaxy far away. Up, up, up and away. Ladies and gentlemen, on applaudit très, très, très fort. Put your hands together. Make some noise for group number 6, l'école élémentaire Hervé Williams Interstellar. Yeah, boy!
Sawa sawa day.
Monsieur, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Make some noise for le Collège Mont des Accords. Give them some love. Yay!
want to give general information about employment law. So I will not advise, because the thing with employment law is every case is different. A little change in circumstances can change the answer of a question. So you will have the chance to ask questions, but I will answer general questions. And some people may think lawyers know it all, but that's not the case. So you may have asked questions and I don't have an answer for you. So, yeah. So, and when I speak, it's general law, but sometimes there are exceptions. For example, in labor law, it's possible to deviate a lot of times in a CLA, for example, but that's too deep to discuss tonight. So I will just give general information, but your particular situation can be different. What are the subjects we are doing tonight? What's an employment agreement? And you would think, why is that relevant? We all know what's an employment agreement, but that's not true, because still there are case law coming from the Supreme Court about the discussion what if that particular situation is an employment agreement, good employee versus good employer, the cycle of temporary contracts, discrimination and gender discrimination. We will speak about discrimination with permanent and temporary employees and part-time and full-time employees. That is new, and that was arranged in the law came into force in 2022. The rights of expecting parents, a lot has changed in that area also in 2022. And I think everybody find it interesting to speak of the end of the employment agreement and what are my rights and how does an employment agreement end. So we will speak, I will, not in detail, but I will just give a little information about how employment agreements can end. The discussion about employment, what is an employment agreement? It's often a discussion about, am I a contractor? Is the person a contractor? We have an assignment agreement, or is the person an employee? And also, I think in St. Martin, there is a lot of seasonal work with tourism. And those confusions about being a contractor and being an employee can arise. And has been, for employment lawyers, it has been interesting the last couple of years on this topic, because there are a couple of Supreme Court cases, and that has to do with the gig economy in Holland, but it's also applicable in St. Martin. Uber, Deliveroo, probably you never heard from Deliveroo, but that's a platform where people would order their food, but that has bring new case law, and it's applicable in St. Martin, and we currently have a case where the discussion is an appeal, where the discussion is it a contractor or is it an employment agreement? And that's the discussion a lot of times with employment agreements. And the law stipulates that when there is salary, work, instruction, and supervision for a certain time, you're speaking about an employment agreement. And salary and work is always the easy one. There is most of the time salary and work, but the discussion is always around supervision or instruction. A lot of times, modern work doesn't require a lot of supervision or a lot of instruction. I mean, I'm an employee and I don't get a lot of supervision or instruction. I do my cases by myself. There are office hours, but nobody really, I have to be at the office, but nobody checks what time I come and what time I go. So you can have a lot of discussion about the instruction and supervision part of it. Um, and the law has a presumption, a certain time, a presumption that if you have worked for 3 months, then there is a presumption that there is an employment agreement. And also in St. Martin, I hear a lot of people say, but we didn't sign anything. I have been working for months there and I don't have an employment agreement. If there is salary, work, and supervision, there is an employment agreement. You don't need a contract on paper. The contract helps because it's proof that there is an employment agreement, but it's not necessarily for a written contract to be made for it to be an employment agreement. And since October 1st, 2022, on request of the employee, the employer is required by law to put in writing that employment agreement. So as an employee, you can go to your employer. I have been working here for some time now. I don't have anything on paper. I want an employment agreement. And it should be in English because I don't understand Dutch. So that is required if the employee asks for that.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
The allocation of land will need to comply with the regulations as stipulated on the land issuance policy, which of course takes DDAM into account. This must include, as mentioned in slide 4, transparency and strict conditions for exclusivity. Moving on to the questions of MP Christopher Waver. What happens if the tender fails for a third time? If the tender fails for a third time, then we will actively seek an approach.
In fact, so MP Otley, although you have a signature on the speaker's list, okay, so, but you may make an interruption, and which opportunity I give you now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the question was asked about basically the notaries not signing due to a lack of a policy or incomplete policy. The minister replied and said that there's no issue because we have not issued any land. However, there will be an issue. So is the minister saying that his intention is not to issue any land? Because I'm sure that the minister is getting requests, because I am not the minister and I am getting requests. So I need to know, is there an issue? Not that there's not an issue now because we didn't request. Will the notary hinder the processing for new land requests? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Otley. And Minister, I now invite you to continue, at which time you can, if you can at this moment, address the concern as expressed during interruptions by MP Otley. Minister Gums.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me clarify several things. With the implementation of I guess the verdict of DDAM, I cannot issue a ministerial decree that then has to then be deeded for land issuance without a policy in place. Because currently what happened over several decades is that there was no policy. With DDAM coming on board, it means we have to have a policy. So I'm not even entertaining new requests. If they are entertained, in general, let's put it as a general rule, DDAM does not allow for land to not be issued. It requires a sound justification. If you require, when a policy comes in place, a sound justification for why this deviation. Because we don't have a current policy in place, everyone who is requesting land technically doesn't have a fair criteria to which I can issue any ministerial decree to give them the land. So as such, and as a general rule of thumb, no considerations are given to anyone who's requesting land. That's being made very public, and I think very important question, because I think it's something that a lot of people are still very much unclear of, and I began my presentation too by stating we focused a lot on the beginning of in DDAM and what it means, simply because there are a lot of requests for land still coming, and if they don't meet certain criteria, which many of them don't, which is basically a fair, open way of requesting land, then they can't be issued.
Minister Gums, I need to ask your indulgence as I allow MP Irian to make an interruption. MP Irian?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Minister, previously, I believe in the budget debate also, you mentioned that there was an issuance regarding Maho, and you said it was a reissuance. But based on the legal framework, even a reissuance that doesn't have any building on it is still an issuance. And that's a discussion that we had with the notary once also. So I want to clarify, that's a question that we had, is when you're giving out land, because that's one of the issues that notaries blocked other parcels already, saying that, hey, this person already had this land, they wanted to extend the land, and they couldn't either. So how was one allowed to and the other not?
Thank you, MP Irian. Minister, I ask you to continue, and just like before, if you care to immediately respond to the matter raised by MP Irian. Minister Gums?
Yep, indeed. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think I clarified this both in Central Committee and in open budget debate. Reissuances are not considered issuances. I think we need to hopefully cement this discussion today so it doesn't come up again. I have reissued several long leases because it's legally allowed. The issue of DDAM is at the inception. It is the personal prerogative of a minister currently, at least in our system, to issue land. The fact that that personal prerogative has no clear, transparent procedure is why, among other reasons, DDAM has come up. So if somebody has a piece of land from 25 years ago, we can't punish them by saying now they can't get it again. They've already made investments on that parcel of land. So reissuances to anybody is allowed. New issuances, for example, dear Minister Gums, I would like a parcel of land to build a home, is not possible. Dear Minister Gums, my parcel of land expires within a year. I want to renew. That is possible. So the difference again, renewal is possible, extension is possible, transfer is possible. New issuances, meaning you don't have a piece of land, asking me for land, not possible. Okay. Continuing on with the questions of MP waiver, is there available CapEx to purchase private land to supplement government-owned land for allocation? There is indeed a CapEx allocation of $10 million for land. This has been proposed several things, including a future cemetery, but this, of course, is still in discussions with the landowners as to what this can be broadened for, including possibly a housing project. Is the temporary policy ready, and how will the government communicate this policy to the public? The temporary policy is not yet ready. And let me just clarify, important to note is that temporary policy is in fact where we internally decide to begin working on something, noting the delays experienced since December of this tender policy. And I'll provide a timeline in my subsequent question as to why that decision was taken when we get to why and how we got to this where we currently are with the delays. Moving to the questions of MP York, will there be a development plan that integrates green spaces? No. The first question is the MP, my apologies. He stated his desire to see what the directives are. They're lacking in the presentation, mentioned parts of proposed policy as well as government incorporated development plans going forward. Sees a lack of vision, various updates pertaining to status of the policy. Through you, Madam Chair, I wish to clarify that what the MP is asking is outlined in my presentation, specifically on slide 3, wherein which I outline my vision for what needs to be considered in future, including spatial planning concerns, environmental concerns, and cultural heritage, none of which is currently considered. If we look at what has been done in the past, for example, people have been issued land on cliffs, never considering, for example, erosion and environmental concerns, and the fact that you actually can't legally build on a cliff within a certain distance from the shoreline on St. Martin. So this is what I speak about when I said spatial planning concerns, environmental concerns, none of which are there. This forms part of my vision, as well as the cultural heritage aspects as well. The other question from the MP, will there be a development plan that integrates green spaces? Our draft zoning plan and development strategy 2030 is used as a guiding vision for this, and this too is included in slide 3 of the presentation as requested, as mentioned in my first answer to the MP. Will there be a shift in land allocation strategies under the new policy? Our draft, sometimes it's very similar, same answer. Our draft zoning plan and development strategy 2030 is being used as a guiding principle for this. And Madam Chair, through you, this too was included in slide 3 of the presentation. During my presentation. And why I also stated in my presentation, there is indeed an overlap between land issuance policy and zoning. So exactly the question the MP is asking that he's missing from the presentation, land allocation strategy, ties back into what I stated, zoning and land issuance overlap.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
It's time for a new brand that is as bold, vibrant, and colorful as the island of St. Martin, with colors drawn from our diversity, cultural heritage, and nature. Our breathtaking beaches, waters, and sun, the majestic brown pelican, our national symbol, the radiant yellow sage, our national flower, the historic border monument signifying the Dutch and French sides, our exciting cruise, yachting, and boating ports, renowned Maho Beach and St. Martin Airport, the hub to the Caribbean. All these parts come together to create the shape of the island of St. Martin. More than a logo. It's a new brand that engages, excites, and will inspire travelers to book. It's time to tell the St. Martin story, to reintroduce travelers to St. Martin, to honor our past, to embrace our present, and shape our future. Our culture and diversity, Dutch and French sides, unrivaled cuisine, Twice the nightlife, entertainment, and shopping. Cruises, boating, and yachting. Twice the adventure, exploration, and relaxation. Splendid and scenic accommodations. Pinel, Tentamar, and island hopping in the Caribbean. Whatever your taste, St. Martin has more. Experience twice the Caribbean. St. Martin.
In a release on Thursday, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice Michael Jackson said the increase in police fatal shootings has reached an alarming and intolerable level. The JFJ argued that the number is unacceptable in a democracy and is particularly troubling given the country's size. But on Friday, Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake hit back at the human rights group.
To suggest that fatal shooting numbers can be reduced by anything other than the unwillingness of persons being apprehended to engage in deadly confrontation with members of the security forces is irresponsible, or at best, advocating for us to relent in our pursuit. We again reiterate the point that those who seek to kill and maim will not be left free and unobstructed to hold communities at ransom and in constant fear.
As at February 19, there were 50 fatal shootings since the start of 2025, more than double the 19 recorded for the same period last year, representing a 163% increase. The JFJ stopped short of labeling the incidents as extrajudicial killings, pointing to the absence of body-worn camera footage in many of the fatal encounters.
This constant call for there to be more accountability over the JCF is in itself a slap in the face of Indicom. Be reminded that that is their single most important mandate. And let me be absolutely clear, lest I am misunderstood or misquoted. I am a full supporter of what Indicom stands for. An effective Indicom assures me that those among us who believe that they are free to break the law will be held to account and be removed from within our ranks.
Dr. Blake again pointed to data which suggests that thousands are arrested and brought before the courts yearly. He insists, however, challenging the police will not end well for criminals.
When the police come for you, do not raise your weapons against us. Lay down your weapons and have your day in court. But should you choose the foolish option of challenging us with lethal force, know this: I do not train my police to lose. We have the superior training and firepower to ensure that we win every time.
He also issued this appeal to the JFJ.
Yes, we agree. We need to have less fatal shootings. And so I call upon JFJ to demonstrate to the public that your care is more for the well-being of our citizens and less for the relevance of your organization. And it is hard for me to think otherwise when I know JFJ is fully abreast of the facts.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.